Hey guys, what's up? Just a quick update. I've had lots of questions about my training. I'm currently doing Sentinel training. I realized after I started my free trial for 14 days that I wanted to stick around because I feel like a completely different animal. I feel like I finally started reaching my potential, and it's all thanks to Taylor and Bryson. I mean, look me, I'm a fucking beast. Stop being a little bitch and go to trainingsentinel.com. Love you.
Hey, you gonna fix the title of our show, or should I leave and do that while you guys are here?
You can change it to whatever you want. We can still talk about this and make it a title.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the typo.
Oh, what did I typo?
Swivel. Swivel.
Yeah, you can fix it. Thanks, Peter. Oh, Taylor's gone. Well, Taylor said that this was a stupid topic and we can't do a whole show on it, but I figured we could still address it because it's probably the only thing that we know about the games now besides event 1, which has already been talked about.
Right.
They posted on their Instagram the other day that people need to be practicing their crossover double unders.
I wonder if people have to refresh their page to see the title update.
I didn't have to refresh mine.
That's crazy. I just got up in the back end and did that in the back end.
Just like first thoughts, are you guys glad that they were brought back at all? Or do you just wish they would have been programmed and never programmed again?
I'm pretty neutral about it. I don't have any negative feelings about it, but I also like if they were never brought back, I wouldn't feel that much either.
Back like we never left. I said we back. Back like we never left.
I do think that them being brought back, the only thing I hope is they're used in a workout where everyone gets to do them now so we can see the people who are really good at them.
Yeah, it's exactly like when they were first done.
It's not going to be – everyone's going to be very good at them at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool that they won't be so much of a can you do them or can you not, but just who is really, really good at them, like doing sets of 100 double unders for 5 rounds. Like right. who can do that and not break? If these are like, I don't know, 5 rounds of 25, 5 rounds of 50, whatever. If they do like that .com workout that's like 21, 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3 of Cal, Echo, and they've done triple unders before. If they inserted crossover double unders, I think it would still be cool. But I do hope it's enough of them to where people will mess up that aren't good at them. So,
yeah.
I find it interesting that Dave, like as much as he likes to challenge athletes, hates movements that make the athletes look stupid. So like in 2021, when these first came out and like so many people couldn't do them and they look stupid, like Dave hated that. But I feel now that most athletes have acquired the skill and they can all do it under intensity, he hates them less, I would think.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point too, because I want to say there was a show that he went on maybe in the last year where someone brought up new movements. And he said, I think new movements are fine. I think there should be 1 or 2 maybe every season. But when they are dosed, they need to be dosed alone. And basically what he was saying is similarly to the gripe that we had when these first came out. You already had legless pegboard. You already had pirouettes for reps. You already had unbroken pistols. You already had low start handstand walk, basically a press to handstand. You had single unders. You had so many new movements in the same workout that the crossover double under was kind of glossed over like the rest of them. And I think that was more so Dave's opinion on it, is that if you're going to put something new in, fine, but let there just be one, and then you can see if people can do it or not. So.
And yeah, and he even talked about that in the weekend review immediately following NorCal. He was talking about how he doesn't really like the way they do things, and it's just too much for one competition, let alone one workout. Which the way Taylor said it, like he likes to challenge the athletes, but he's afraid of movements that challenge the athletes. Or maybe afraid isn't the right word. He just doesn't like them. I think is a interesting point.
Rambler wants to see a landmine press at the games. Hey, you're late, fat ass. Refresh your page. I already went and fixed the title. You just got to refresh your page, bro. At least it should be fixed. I'm gonna be butthurt if it's not fixed.
It's fixed for me.
What do you think about this font? Individuals. Essay. This is like fucking Folsom.
Yeah, that's what I think of too.
Folsom Prison. Got my tattoo in the yard. Essay because you fucking my sister. What do you think, JR?
It made me think tattoos immediately.
Yeah, dude. Tats in the yard, bro. Prison tat.
So when
Prison
that movement first came out, and there was so much going on in that workout, your first gut instinct, was it gimmicky, or was it, hey, I watched Matt Mursky do these on Every Second Counts 20 years ago? What was your initial thought?
I just thought it was stupid watching them all do something they couldn't do. Like most of the field couldn't do them, and I just don't care to watch that. And I don't care to watch Nick Matthew or Guy Mayeros beat a bunch of people just because they know how to do something that other people don't know how to do and didn't have practice on or didn't have the right jump rope or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I disagree with you at all, but did you feel that way about the pegboard when most people couldn't do it?
I think the pegboard's different.
That's kind of the point I'm getting at. Is it's interesting where you have these things that you see and you're just like, ew, that makes us look terrible. Look at those people stepping over a bar on burpees. They look so unathletic. But yet, if it's something different that's like what you think of as hard or what you think of as like, no, you should be able to do that if you're one of the fittest people on earth and it's the last workout at the CrossFit Games, you should be able to climb a pegboard. It's in almost every single PE like gym. You know what I mean?
And at the end of the day, the pegboard is way less skill dependent. It's, hey, do you have the accuracy to put your freaking pecker in a hole and then the strength to pull yourself up to go in the next hole?
I would like your first question. My gut instinct was that the crossover double unders were gimmicky. I didn't like them at first, and I'm just kind of neutral to them now. And then I would say with the pegboard, maybe like the distinction for what's gimmicky and not gimmicky is something that you can tell how hard it is just by looking at it. Right. Like watching them try to do the crossover double unders, it was like, dude, these, like, why can they not do this? Like, they just look like they're flailing around. Like, all you have to do is crisscross it and put it on your feet. Like it, even though it's not easy, you can't tell how hard it is just by watching people try it. You have to try it yourself to figure out how hard that is. Whereas a pegboard, you're like, if you're someone who's just like an average person and you watch that, you're like, dude, there's no way I could do that.
I will throw a movement out there that I think is not what you're describing, Bryson, but I still think it's the most gimmicky, dumbass movement ever, and that's the freestanding handstand push-up.
I knew we were going to get here because that's Taylor's movement. Yeah,
I just think it is so dumb. I love the parallel L-sit press to handstand and then walk. That's cool. I love parallel handstand push-ups. I love deficit handstand push-ups. I love strict handstand push-ups. But the freestanding handstand push-up just is like, make them do strict freestanding handstand push-ups. If you want them to do something cool and hard, do that. The kipping freestanding handstand push-up, it's just like who has, I mean, they're testing balance, right? But it just is so dumb looking.
The better handstand walkers do better at those anyway, when you could just do pirouettes or obstacles, like you said, L-sit, press to handstand. Right. And I'm not as passionate about it as you. Like, it's not the first thing on my mind, but I do think that it looks so stupid.
Yeah, they just look dumb, and we're putting the fittest athletes on earth on full display. I don't think we should have them doing things that look dumb, like James Sprague sticking his face head first into a pink star.
Yeah, it's interesting too. And like, I kind of want to go back to what Bryson said, because I think that's where we can go down a pretty deep rabbit hole. And what you said basically was, if you can watch it as an everyday person and know how difficult it is without wondering, then you don't think it's gimmicky. So my question would be, for a lot of people, they saw that and went, dude, my daughter or son can do that. They're in jump rope club and they're in the 6th grade. They can do those all day. Like, this is pathetic. How can they not do this? Okay, warranted. So then if they did a front roll to support for reps, right? Maybe that's the line of gimmicky. Or they did another gymnastics. Let's say they did pirouettes on parallettes. So let's say they're parallettes in a lane and you started facing one direction and then you turned all the way around and that's one, but you did it on parallettes, not on the floor. And people watched it and people failed and they were like, dude, my daughter is like, and she's 8 years old and she can do these all day on wooden pirouettes. This is pathetic. Where, like, is that the line? Because if that's the case, then really anything gymnastics is going to make us look bad in that respect. But I think that's important if we're going to try to push and challenge the athletes, that we still venture into that realm, because what are we going to do from an aerobic or from a weightlifting standpoint to do that?
I agree with you to a point. But I think there are exercises like pegboards or seated legless rope climbs or deficit strict handstand push-ups that you can dose with just a little more volume to test exactly what you want to test, or like the L-sit press to handstand or the pirouette on the boxes or the handstand obstacle. I think all of those things, or even the bar pullover, but like the free standing handstand push-up is just, to me, not one of those movements that's like gymnastic prowess.
Yeah, and like all those movements that you named in the beginning were all strength movements, which I think is great and what we need to do. And then when you get to the pullover or you get to the pirouette on the box, did you guys like that when they did the pullover, and to get there you had to do the pirouette on the higher box and turn around? Did you like that?
I thought the pirouette on the box was cool. It definitely demonstrated skill and accuracy and body control. I think it rides the line of gimmicky, but I think it looks way cooler than a freestanding handstand push-up.
I like the pirouette on the box a lot, and I liked that you had to press the handstand to the box to start on the way back. And I didn't really care for the pullovers at the time, and I'm still just kind of neutral about the pullovers. I think it's fine to test, but I think I felt a little bit more negatively about them when they first came out.
I think what they should do is they should set that box in between the handstand obstacle and have them walk up the stairs, pirouette in the center, walk down the ramp, and do like that in a workout. I think that would be cool.
That workout made me think that was coming eventually. It's like, okay, they've definitely thought about this then.
Yep.
Yeah, and
it's coming this year, actually.
That scaled down press to handstand that you're talking about after the pullovers, and then they do the low start too. Like, it to me, and we know that was more so Boz's programming, both of those years. I do wonder if like we would have gotten some kind of a handstand walk Diane where you have some of those low P bars and you have 3 of them per lane. You do 21 and then you do low start, walk, come down, low start, walk, come back, low start, walk, come down, and then go to the next bar. And it's basically like you have to do a bunch of press to handstands to get up there. And that's the hard part of the movement, not the deadlift or not the whatever. And it'll be interesting to see if they bring anything like that back. Also, since the pullover was supposed to be L pull-ups, do you think they have found a standard to implement that?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Do you think that's one of those like training movement, fine, competition movement, never?
Like I think if they could find a way, I think if they could find I just don't know. I think find a way to do regular strict pull-ups before you try to do L strict pull-ups. Have they done regular strict pull-ups other than a weighted pull-up at the games?
They did. No, they did them at Wadapalooza the one time, and it was just kind of like honor system.
Shit show. It was a shit show.
When it was wet. Yeah, when it was wet that year. Yeah.
I think find a way to do that correctly first before you try to do an L pull-up.
Yes. Strict pulling movements in general, if it's not on a rope, I just feel like it's really tough. I really liked when teams did the L
pull-up,
seated muscle up to the support hold. I think that's like, hey, arms are straight, hips have to be off before you start to move. And then if you have a little kip, you have a little kip, whatever. It's not really strict, but it's kind of strict.
Right.
I think that would be cool to do. It would be interesting if they did, the A-frame kind of rig that they used last year and that up and back chipper with the deadlifts and the rope climbs and the GHD and the ski. If they used those rigs for rope climbs, but they did just a ton of L rope climbs to like whatever, 12 and a half or 13 feet, whatever that is.
Or seated start rope
cool.
climbs.
Yeah, something like that. I think would be cool. Taylor, if they figured out a way to use the pegboard and you have the dowel part, but the dowel is only an inch or two long, so enough to go in and not come out. But the outside of it was a rock climbing hold, and that's how you moved up the pegboard. Do you think you could figure that out or no? Do you think they could do that and people could do it, or is that too difficult? Because I think a rock climbing wall would be sick, and I wonder if they
what I would worry about. What I would worry about is just, and you asking me this makes me think you have tried it, but my first instinct is, what happens if they just turn like that or turn like that? They turn one way or another because it's a circular or a cylindrical input rather than like a square that locks you in. I think it would be safer for them just to put the same exact bouldering course in each lane on a plexiglass wall. They could easily do that. Rogue could easily do that. Yeah. I think that would be fucking awesome. I think if they're going to do the pegboard, they just need to leave the pegs normal, and then, adjust the course up. I think fluctuation in the peg is just risking danger, like making it fatter is making it risky, people falling, making it like a rock climbing handhold. I think it would just spin potentially. But what they could do is like 3-position pegboards or pegboard shuttle runs. Bryson said we were programming for someone and we were thinking of like pegboard variations. He was like, you do a shuttle pegboard. And I was like, that's weird. I called it
a suicide pegboard.
A suicide pegboard. Right. And I was like, I never would have thought to call it that. When I had Michelle do them prior to 2023 games, we just called them a 3-position pegboard. And I think I talked with you about them, and I don't know, I can't remember if you gave me the idea or not. If you did, unfuck me.
Yeah, we talked about it. Like, go a third of the way up, come down,
third
go
down, half down.
Yep.
Yeah. Or third, 2/3.
Yeah.
3/3.
Yeah. I think that would be great. Or just simply saying, hey, you're going to do 4-3-2 and they have to be done unbroken or they don't count. Right. You have to stay on the. Would you guys like if they had a plexi horizontal pegboard? Do you think that should just be a rogue thing and they should just let it be a rogue thing?
Yeah, I don't like the horizontal pegboard. I think if they're going to do something different with the pegboard, do that suicide or 3-position style, or make it taller. Make it a higher pegboard. Make it a long fucking pegboard. I think that would be cool. Or mandate, like, I don't know.
I think it would be really cool if they came back to the legless, but they re-engineered it to where it's only as wide as the holes. So your feet, there's nothing but air as you're climbing it and coming down. I think that would be awesome.
I think that would be a good way to, make it harder. I think, like Taylor said, like mandating people do it unbroken. You could do the suicide ones. You can make it taller. But on paper, I thought the horizontal pegboard was going to be really cool. But I just did watching it Rogue. I thought it sucked.
Yeah, I thought it sucked too.
Do you think it's one of those things though, where like when you watch Spencer Hindle climb the pegboard, it looked like everyone should be able to do it that way, in the same way that when Brent did it, everyone was like, why can't everyone do it like that? Do you think it would just take a few years and then everyone would learn the technique?
No, I think it's different. I think when you watch Spencer climb a pegboard, it looks like this natural athletic thing that someone's doing. And when you watch Brent climb a horizontal pegboard, it looks like he's forced this weird technique over X amount of times trying to practice it specifically for that event. And it just looks dumb.
Yeah. And even if everyone did adopt that and figure out how to do it, when people climb a pegboard vertically, it looks like a physical effort. Like it's like, okay, the stronger and fitter person is going to do better at this. When they do it horizontally, even if you do it like Brent, it just looks like, like swinging on monkey bars, which is fine, but like, hey, we're at the CrossFit Games. In this scenario, like I want people to look like they're performing physical feats.
Do you think we'll ever get back to look at this image? Or video.
Oh, the stands, my goodness.
I know, look at them. They are insanely packed. Do you think we'll ever get back to that?
I hope so, man.
I think we will. You know what I would really like to see at the games this year is some good old-fashioned inside the fucking tennis stadium grunt work, move a sandbag from one end of the field to the next, throw it over the wall, climb up the stairs, drag it to the top, like something like that. Man, that would be so cool to watch. It would be really cool to watch how these refined and polished athletes handled something so simple like that you just probably don't practice ever. Do you know what I mean? When I think of introducing new things to the games, I don't think, oh, I want to see a press to handstand or a ring handstand push-up. I think I want to see these athletes practice clean and jerks and muscle ups and handstand walks every day, but I want to see them take 50, 100-pound sandbags from one end of the floor to the other, throw it over a 12-foot wall and get over the wall. And who does that fastest? Like something cool that they never would have thought to train for, but you see the workout and you're like, damn, this is going to be a tough workout. I think they were going for that with the hammer tire hits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was probably going to be a miss. And I pray to God, to Yeshua, to Sevon, whoever, to Daddy Dave, maybe, that you don't bring that back, please.
I think it's coming back for sure, 100%.
You think?
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to bring my hammer and I'm going to give you 50 hits.
I hope it doesn't. I'm just saying I think it will.
Fuck.
What's more likely? Amanda 45 or the tire hammer?
Amanda 45 is definitely more likely.
I agree.
But I think like Bryson said, the tire is probably coming back too.
I think they're both very
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if you did both, but yeah, I don't know.
I think Amanda 45 would be awesome. I would be very, hey, dude, just find something. Make him flip a fucking tire. Like even
I think to your point though, like, and I mean, it's a stadium. There's going to be a bunch of stairs. I'm sure they could. There's probably a wall high enough for them to throw some sandbags over and surmount it with their body and then come back down. There is something about, hey, take this stuff, move it over there, and when you're done, move it back. That's like just really fun and exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. I agree. I hope there's something like that. And there may be only being one workout outside is going to make it to where you gotta be a little bit outside the box with how you program. I mean, last year the teams used the snails and it was awesome, but the individuals didn't, which was shocking. And I just hope that maybe some of those implements from the past at least come back, because I think there's still got to be some type of spectacle show. There's got to be some weird stuff that you would usually get in an outdoor type workout,
soccer chipper type workout. The snails is a great idea.
You know, Dave said too on that interview with Ben that he was there testing and he was like, I was happy we got to try out some new equipment for this year, which was fun. So, I mean, just even hearing something like that, I think is promising. And I don't think it's going to be the jump rope or anything like that.
Right.
So I sent to the group that I was on Rogue just looking around at any new equipment, and there are those like strongman kettlebell throw bags that I think he and Bailey Rail were using when she went to the ranch, and I guess they're on the site now that you can purchase them with like
they've been on the site.
The throwbacks have, but they haven't been called soft kettlebells and kettlebells.
Did you just say soft?
Probably. What's also interesting is that they only go up to 53 pounds, which I found very odd, to where like, hey, that would probably be the heaviest thing that they would be throwing. And if they found out, even if they were throwing it over something 10 feet for reps, I think that would still be something cool that they could do. It only goes to 53. And then there's also, if you go to New Gear, there is a broad jump mat. There's a vertical digital tester. I was just kind of thinking, would it be cool if they kind of brought back a skills type thing and we had people do some of those combine type feel, like L-sit, max distance, like things that they did outside, but it was still pretty cool from like a station standpoint. A couple of years ago, the Masters did a weighted pull up. They did biker cow for like AMRAP style. They kind of did some things like that. Yeah, it's that, and then something else.
Interesting. I don't think this will show. I don't think this will show up because this is a separate brand. It's not like a rogue item. But what I do think would be really cool, and I still stand by this standard. for measuring a burpee broad jump is a 6-foot gap with tape lines, and you do a burpee with your hands on one side of the tape and you jump across your heels over the other side of the tape, turn around. So like a facing burpee broad
Back and
jump.
forth. Yeah.
Like for reps, I think that's just fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do them in a workout tomorrow, probably.
That would be cool.
What
Yeah.
else? Oh, they should
Got
be
it.
in these. What are these? Heavy hangers?
I didn't click on them. Click on them.
It just looks like a storage solution potentially.
Yeah, probably so.
Oh, what?
Oh, you can attach bands to your barbell a lot easier that way, I guess.
Interesting. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
How many more times after event 1 do you think they're going to run?
Twice more. I don't know. With 3 days, just once more.
I say once more.
Yeah, once more.
I would guess once more, but I would hope twice more.
Oh, this is the Torque Tank wall-mounted ski erg. I thought that was going to be like the endless rope. Don't they have an endless rope, Torque?
I think so, yeah.
I was thinking about purchasing one. Uh-oh, I shouldn't have said that live. Lizzie's watching in the other room.
It's awesome. You should. Sorry, Lizzie. That kind of training thing to use is so good.
What the fuck? Is this infrared?
Oh, you like sit in that and pull it over your head. I saw someone on Instagram use that.
And it's like a dungeon. It's like a little infrared
it's like a
sex
single
dungeon.
person. Yeah.
The fuck?
I mean, we could probably both fit in there, but I meant for one person.
You know what Hiller said we should do? Hiller said we should take a picture on the couch with both of us naked and just our laptops covering our junk and caption it programming. Crazy. I wanted to get some questions that we missed last week also. Trying to see what we missed. Oh, thoughts on using the conjugate method for class programming. Uh-oh. It won't let me do it unless I stop sharing the screen. Thoughts?
I wonder what part about it are they talking about specifically? Like the accommodating resistance, like using bands and chains, like having a speed day and a heavy day, or what? I wonder what they're talking about specifically.
My first thought was all like very unique variations of the lifts is where my head goes when someone asks a question like that. Which, if you're a gym that uses heavy days where you do one heavy day a week, and 60 to 80% of the time it's a version of a press, squat, or pull off the floor, I would say that could be really cool. Like having really different variations of the deadlift for your heavy days, and different tempos and pauses. If you have the equipment like bands or chains or something like that, could be cool. It just depends on the gym.
What is conjugate training? Every week of training acts as an assessment feedback loop by providing objective information showing how strong, fast, and athletic they call athleticism GPP. Ooh, you're going to really upset CrossFit football and all those fucktards. Okay, it's just a YouTube video. System history. The Soviet approach prescribed tremendous volume and used a form of heavy effort training. The athlete's main movements, clean snatches, squats, etc., would rarely go over 100% maximal effort, which is not optimal as the central nervous system needs to be taxed maximally. Interesting. I want to go back. Okay. It switches through different exercises and physical effort levels to ensure you continuously get as strong and athletic as necessary for whatever objective you set. Its success relies on a training hierarchy that constantly rotates stimulus and intensities to increase positive changes to your physical health while reducing injury risk. It just sounds like constantly varied strength movements at high intensity.
Yeah. I was going to say I think like a pretty foundational part of conjugate is that
constant
at least once or twice a week, you're performing something max effort.
Yeah.
And you use the variation of that lift to make it not as high of an absolute load. So like if you're going to do a frog stance deadlift, you can max that out one day, but it's not like you're putting the same load in your body as you.
What is a frog stance deadlift, Bryson?
Where your heels are touching and your toes are pointed out to the side.
That's crazy.
And so something like that, like you would deadlift a little bit less than your actual 1 rep max deadlift, or even if you're just doing a frog stance triple that day, like it's still a maximal effort. I was going to say that kind of is basically what heavy days are anyway, where your intensity is coming from the weight you're lifting. And the whole point of a heavy day is to go as heavy as possible, or whatever variation or rep scheme we're doing that day on that heavy day.
I'm looking up. Okay, here we go. Frog style deadlifts. Every picture is different. There's sumo, there's conventional, and then there's one image of the guy doing it that way. I like it. We should try that. Okay, I'm not going to share the screen. Yeah, I love the conjugate method too. I mean, my coach always used to program my strength that way, and that's really similar to how we do it on Sentinel. Is constantly varied strength progressions. But I really like the movement variation changing each week.
Yeah, that's cool. I think, I mean, I don't know enough about it to really speak to it intelligently, so I won't try to fake that. But I think doing a dynamic day, doing a maximum effort day, but where you're not coming close to putting 100% load on your structure is very smart. But in general, I would say if your gym is completely exhausted all the other approaches and no one's been able to have any kind of progress, and you say, hey, we need to all do conjugate now, great. Or if you just want to mix it in and still not say we are doing conjugate or we're not doing conjugate, or we're using some of the conjugate principles in the way that we do strength work, I think that's great.
And I don't think that guy, maybe he did, but I don't think he meant the bands and the chains, etc. To me, that's not what I think of when I think conjugate. To me, what I think of is if you're going on a 4-week progression and Monday squats, week 1's front squat, week 2's overhead squat, week 3's back squat, week 4's berserker squat, or something like that. Like the variation changes each week. Maybe your rep scheme stays the same and your effort level stays the same, but the variations are changing. I think if that's the way you approached it for class, fantastic.
Yeah, and I also think that it's not a, hey, do you use conjugate or do you not use conjugate? It's not necessarily like a yes or no thing. It's like, hey, yeah, we vary the type of press, squat, and hinge that we do every single week for our heavy day. And we always try to make it so people are going maximum effort on that day because that's our heavy day of the week.
Right.
I would say that's a version of doing conjugate. And then also if you go to another gym that's just a straight up powerlifting gym and they do the bands and the bamboo bars and, you know, the press from pins and stuff every single day, and that's all they do. They also do conjugate, just a more like farther down the spectrum, I guess.
And he answered our question. I think for a class, I meant more about the variations, not so much the bands and the chains. I think that's great. I think that is the perfect way to vary strength training while also relying on transfer of skill to get people stronger. This was a good question that we kind of talked about a little bit, me and Bryson. This was, how would you work on becoming a better programmer? JR, what first comes to mind? What would you do to become a better programmer?
Practicing.
So just doing it more.
Doing it more, doing it for different kinds of people, doing it for doing it with certain constraints, and researching what others have done. Like whether it's other training programs or other programmers that program for other athletes, whether it's other competitions, you can look back. You can learn so much just by geeking out on it. It's an easier way to say it. And I think it's really important to do so. I think if the only programming you're ever looking at is the one you're writing, there's only so much growth that can come of that.
Right. We had basically, me and Bryson were 50% of your response. Bryson was do it more, program more, and work out more. And mine was see other people's stuff and learn from others.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that too. I think the reason Because I also think like as soon as someone asks that question, I start to get multiple answers. Like I think about, watching the games documentaries or going through main site, stuff like that. But I just think the first answer that comes to me is just do it more, because theoretically, like if you had all the time in the world and you could just keep writing workouts, you would eventually see what works really well and what you get good workouts from and what you don't. Whereas if you only ever looked at other people's stuff and never wrote your own, and then one day you had to write your own, you would not be like, you couldn't do it just from looking at other things. You would have to have practice doing it yourself.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
would say it's like 51% doing it more, and then 49% seeing other people do
Maybe
it.
even 60-40.
No, and I mean you or Taylor, one of you guys just made up a crucial part of that is you have to see the programming come to life. So either you're doing it or you're watching someone else do it. I mean, think
Right.
about all the people that we watch in the competition space. Think about Dave in years and years and years. But we don't just look at it on a computer screen and like, oh yes, this is
Right.
really good, or oh, I'm sure it was an elegant combination. No, we saw what it did to people. We saw people race it. We saw what the cruxes were. We saw what on paper, what they were workouts appeared to be. And sometimes they were, and sometimes they weren't. We saw what didn't work, or we saw what worked really well. And then we use that in the way that we all program. So I think that part of it, either you need to feel it yourself or you need to program it and have someone else tell you how it felt or watch them do it. That's a huge part of it. That's a huge part of it. Because it can always look great on paper.
Oh God. This was an interesting question. Urban EK. I don't know. I can't spell the name. James Hobart recently redid a workout which had forward rolls in it. Gimmick or unique stimulus? To me, honestly, that sounds like a Metfix thing. That sounds like the stimulus they're going for. Like maybe it was a repeat Metfix workout or something. But
isn't the hero workout? I'm gonna get this wrong. Adrian, doesn't it have forward rolls in it?
Hey, yo, Adrian. Let's check.
I know there's 100%. There's a hero workout that has forward rolls for reps.
We've done them in class at Charlotte. We did it in a skill development though.
I think it also has wall climbs, or they call them wall climbs. And after I watched Hiller's video with Tyson and Erica, how they use that wall to basically do muscle ups and come back down, I now wonder if wall climbs meant that, like wall surmounts and not like wall walks. Like
7 rounds for time, 3 forward rolls, 5 wall climbs. Was that a wall walk?
That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I wonder if it's supposed to be a wall.
I think it's a wall walk.
Did I get that right? Is that the name of the workout too?
I'm watching. Yeah, here. Hold on. Let me share the screen. Can you guys hear that? Uh-oh.
I can hear it, not see it.
Where'd it go? Oh, here we go.
Oh, dude, is this the guy at the Sentinel?
What are you talking about?
I feel like I recognize this gym.
Oh, it is a wall walk. Yeah, that's crazy. They used to call it wall climbs.
But this was before they had like the open standard.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they're doing this in 2018-ish era. 2019. Oh, look at that. She can't do it. What is that? The candlestick? This is crazy. Toast to bar and box jump overs. In all seriousness, I guess I don't know.
Oh, it would get more hate than any other. Like if we're doing somersaults, doing somersaults for reps, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that would be dumb, but I do. What was the question? Was it in a class setting?
Is it gimmicky?
Oh, I think it depends on the circumstance. I thought when we did it in a skill development at Charlotte, I thought it was really cool. And I think it is just another thing, like just a, hey, like body awareness thing, like transfer skill to other things and just life in general. I think if you take 2 90-year-old people and one of them can do 5 forward rolls in a row in under 2 minutes and the other one can't, and you don't know anything else about them, I would think that the one who can do them is way more physically capable and healthier and a bunch of other things. So I think it is like a indicator and something good to practice, but I don't think it should be used at the games if that's what they're asking. I think it would be gimmicky at the games.
I got a movement for you guys. Gimmicky or just like athletic, plyometric, whatever height you want, probably like 24 or 30 inch single leg box jumps.
Gimmicky.
Yeah.
See, I think that too. And it's like, but people would be like, well, nah, it makes a regular box jump harder. Does the box always just need to get higher and higher? Or do we need to do more and more reps?
Well, what are we testing? If your leg gets cut off in battle, can you still jump on a fucking box?
But and then the same argument would be said was when are you ever gonna have to walk on your hands ever?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I don't like it either. I'm just thinking about movements that there will be people that would program, because people would program that. And I'm not even talking about like pistol jump over a PVC, like even that out there than that. Like,
there's absolutely no objective reason that I think single leg box jump should or shouldn't be gimmicky. I think for me, when I'm determining whether something is gimmicky or not, it's an entirely subjective, does this look stupid for me? And I'm not even ashamed to admit that. I think if it looks fucking dumb and it just doesn't, like, there's something about watching, and Dave said in his week in review, he's like, there's something about watching human movement, an athlete completing a squat snatch, an athlete doing a legless rope climb, an athlete doing a handstand walk or a press to handstand. That's beautiful and it's insane and it's like awe-inspiring, and you're like in shock at how fast they could do something while moving so perfectly with so much external loading or whatever, etc. And then there are movements that are like, what the fuck are they doing? That looks stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not even about if 39 of the 40 games athletes suck at it and make it look stupid. If someone who's good at it can make it look really good, then I think it passes the test. Like even with something like crossover double unders, people now can make them look really good, but even like the person who was the best at them in the games before, Nick Matthew, like it still looked fucking stupid when he was doing them. He was having to hike so much, and like it just looked dumb. But people who are actually good at crossover double unders, which are a lot more of them now, make them look good. And I don't think anyone who was really good at single leg box jumps could make it look good. It would just look dumb.
Hey, Maris, I think if pistols aren't dumb, then one-legged box jumps aren't dumb. Well, that's why you're not on the show. And we don't care what you think. Or I don't. Sorry, I don't. That's
people who are really good at pistols look really good and look like they're moving really athletically when they're doing pistols.
Here, let's see if this passed the schmegma test for Maris.
Are we finding a video of single leg box jumps?
Yep.
While you're pulling that up, the jump rope in general, do you think double unders is really just all we need? You can vary the kind of rope that you're going to use to do them with, but other than that, we just need to leave it alone. Like, do we need to do single unders or speed steps?
I think they should
or triple unders or whatever.
Triples is a good evolution. Look, this is the best video I could possibly find. The most athletic looking guy. He's even got like a deeper melanin in his skin. Like I would say if you're looking for any type of athleticism, it's this guy. And even they just look stupid as fuck. Are we landing double leg, single leg? Like what's the...
Yeah, and any movement where you have to start like this is good. Like, at least on a pistol, you can have your foot forward.
Behind you? Yeah.
Let's see. He just looks like a little pony. He looks like one of those people who does the fake horse jumping.
This is not like...
Oh, what's that called? Oh, hobby horsing. Well, Maris likes that, so that explains a lot. He's a big hobby horser. Just puts your pole in between her legs and jumps around the house.
I think in general, and I don't like the seated whatever, because I think anything that you have to say, okay, let me start my movement and get down on the ground and sit to start, I don't think that looks good at all.
What do you wait? A seated start jump?
Oh, like a seated
No,
start
just
rope
anything. Anything. Just where you have to be like, all right, everyone start. Okay, cool. Let me get down on my hands and
I
knees and then
think
sit
about
down
that
and then
every
start.
time I do seated start rope climbs in a workout. I'm like, God, it looks so stupid getting on the floor right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just something for me, like Taylor was saying, the subjectivity of it. For some reason, I don't really like anything that you have to just start sitting down to starting to do whatever the thing is.
I do remember that, and don't make me repeat it. Me and Bryson have got some work to do later. Yeah, getting down on the ground for rope climbs. What else just looks so gimmicky and dumb? I would have thought, to be honest, I would have really thought the hammer hits on the tire last year would have looked incredibly gimmicky and dumb because they were doing them for reps. Like, hey, if it's a training movement and you're doing it for effort, like a ball slam, but even a D-ball ground to overhead, you can standardize a range of motion. But the hammer hit is like so hard to standardize a range of motion, and it just looks stupid.
Well, the D ball, it just becomes a different movement. It becomes a ground to overhead, which is fine, and it looks fine. But the hammer hits don't become anything else. They just become, oh, I'm touching this and getting it over my head. Like I'm just touching it and getting it over my head as many times as I can. Like,
right. Yeah, and I mean, I like a lot of people hated the banger workouts. I mean, if there was a way to make the end of the mallet, I don't know, longer or shorter to where you could not hook the thing, or make it at eye level to where you had to be hitting it laterally or whatever. If you're going to do something like that, I didn't mind the banger workouts. I don't know if you guys.
I like the assault banger workouts.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I just think that, they found a way to cheat it, and oh well. This is a good question.
That's one of the ways you can make an effort worth it, where it's like, hey, if it was the same thing with like a ball slam,
right?
It's essentially the same movement, but now it pays off to swing harder.
Single leg box jumps, gimmick for competition, but beneficial in training. What are your thoughts? I think landing on a single leg, like single leg drops off a box, are very beneficial for training. I don't think a single leg box jump is as beneficial compared to other unilateral leg movements, because you would almost never do a single leg jump like that in real life. It just doesn't replicate how you would jump using a single leg. Like, think about a basketball player would jump off one foot, or you would cut in football. Like, I think a single leg lateral hop is far more beneficial to train. I would think almost like a running start, single leg leap. Like, is the triple jump the one with single leg bounds? You do single leg, double leg jump. Like, I think that's far more beneficial to train. I just think the box jump for height is I don't know. I'm not saying it's worthless, but I think there are things, single leg, unilateral, and jumping, that are far more beneficial. What do you guys think?
I was going to say, I think the example of a triple jump is really good, because that's how you would jump off of one leg in real life.
In real life, most of the time.
And even if it was for height, again, like, let them run to start, but just like standing in a static position and picking one leg up off the ground and jumping onto a box is just, I don't know, it just looks dumb.
Yeah.
You far more often absorb force through one foot than you do try to produce force going straight upward with one foot. So yes, that would be why. Like, I don't want to have to explain all the ways that you probably absorb force from Bryson. This is getting uncomfortable for me. I'm done. I can't argue with Maris, because if she gets right, if she's right in an argument and I'm wrong, I'm going to be way too embarrassed to ever come back on this show. So stop arguing with me, please.
No, it's interesting. I think that's we're at the point in the show where that line between gimmicky and not is so subjective.
It is.
There are a lot of people that think spinning around in a circle on your hands, that nothing could be more gimmicky than that. But because it's in the 100 words of fitness, we're okay with it.
Yeah.
Or I think that starting seated at something doesn't look great, but I think that if they had a workout at the CrossFit Games that was 100-foot handstand walk for time, start sitting down and straddle press to handstand to start it,
Damn.
I think it would be sick.
That would be really cool.
Because some people just couldn't do it at all. And it's like whether they used parallettes and said, okay, start in a straddle and then press, but they just need the floor. Sit on the floor, put your hands in between your legs, press yourself up, and then walk 100 feet for time. Like, that would be cool, but I just still think something where you have to start seated, or maybe it's more of if you have to come back to that position. Like you sit down, do some legless rope climbs, go do a barbell, and then come back and sit on the ground to start another round.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that. I don't know.
Did you guys ever practice single leg jumping in basketball, JR?
Yeah.
For height, like box jumps?
Like rim touches or backboard touches, but just on one foot. Yeah.
Larry Young, and really one leg jumping is limited in basketball, according to him. When my 2-foot jumping got crazy, it made everything easier. And then Maris goes, every time you run, every stride is explosive off one foot and landing balanced on the other one. That would be more like a sled push to train.
But even that, like we're
force
saying, like a triple jump would be cool. If they did a triple jump for an event at the games, I think that'd be sick.
Right.
Do you think if they did a triple jump, it should just be a jump off 2 feet, land, don't move your feet, jump again, land, jump
like
again.
a triple
land.
broad jump?
Correct. Or do you think it should be get a running start, go right, right, left, or left, left, right?
No, I think it should be like an actual like track triple jump.
Like into a sand pit.
Could be anything. I think if they did a legit triple jump, I think it would be cool. If they did a triple broad jump, I think that'd be cool too. But I just always really I ran track in high school and I was never a jumper, but I always liked watching the really good jumpers do long jump and triple.
Running, I can't stop. Running is not similar to a one-legged box jump in any way at all. Sorry.
What I think
Can't
would
stop.
be really fun. Like, it's not expensive at all to do. You only need one of them. Watching it, there's not a race, but like talk about things that are relatable too, and talk about like, hey, they did a mile run on a track last year. That was cool. We actually got to see what a fast mile time at the games was, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just some obscure distance that we can't compare other people
Right.
to. Think about if they just got a vertical tester and they just had everyone test their vertical and said, hey, you can get a running start, or you can take 1 foot into it, or you have to stand flat, you jump up and touch as high as you can. Like, I want to know what the best CrossFit Games athletes can. I want to know how high they can jump.
So if they do a slam dunk competition, you think that would be cool?
No, because I think
9-foot rim.
First of all, wait a minute. Hold on. I really want to know who CrossFat is because they have really good comments. But this is a huge giveaway into this guy's generational. He called it a slam dunk competition. anyone who calls dunking
Slam
a slam dunk is he's already older than I am. 100%.
Wow. What about a home run? Fucking a home
I just
run.
want to. So one thing to add to Maris and Taylor's argument: if you take the CrossFit running course and that they
It
have
says
all
you're
the
falling.
yeah, it's everything in running isn't about producing force. It's about changing
forward.
your point of contact with the ground and letting gravity do the work. So if you change your point of contact with the ground and you make it farther behind your center of gravity, you will go faster because you're falling forward.
And you're not producing force.
You're not pushing with your leg. You're just using your legs as support for your own body weight. And that's how CrossFit teaches running. So that's the right way.
And I'm just going to say this. I was going to go crazy with this comment, but I did take
those are fighting words.
I did take a workout from Maris. I don't even know if I asked her. I probably didn't. And programmed it. It was like an accessory, and I programmed it for Morgan as an accessory. It was really good. It was cool.
Hey, and also to CrossFat's comment, because it's a great comment, that takes way too much coordination. And to me, that would be worse than watching people throw a softball.
And so in that same argument, like maybe it would be better if they were going to introduce something like track events to the games, it would be cooler to do a long jump than a triple jump, because a triple jump is so technique based.
Right. Unless you're going to do a standing triple, like you said, like where it's just a broad jump, then yeah, I agree. But I do think that, and we've talked about this before, when we test power output, when we test maximum effort, whatever, it's with an external load. But to me, like if we do a standing box jump or a standing vertical, I bet you Guy wins the lift and he wins that, period. Like I bet you it's the same people that are the most explosive, powerful in that setting as they are with an external load. Maybe there's some outliers, but I think in general, you would see the same people.
Vertical jump just measures your standing reach to where you can jump to touch. So it doesn't matter how tall you are.
Correct.
Whenever Maris does the 50 for time, she gets capped at like 2. So
Jesus Christ. I was going to say that. So the actual workout that I took was 20 seconds of work, 40 seconds of rest until completion, X amount of like ring rows or push-ups.
it was 20 on, 20 off, I think.
20 on, 20 off, maybe. I don't know if I wrote it 20 on, 40 off. 20, but anyways, that was the workout. What I was going to say was, where was that comment? Oh, yeah. Once Taylor took one of my workouts, I was going to say, yeah, I took it from her and Bryson and gave it to Coach L. Oh, God. What games athlete would win a standee? What do you mean, like a standing? A what? Probably Jason with that hair dye.
I was just thinking about. I would just think about who would win like a stand. Like if they did a skills again, and they did a bunch of different like things, and they did a broad jump. Who do you think would win that?
I think if it was broad jump, what did they do? Broad jump and a throw?
They did softball toss. They did broad jump. They did, and these are in skills 1 and 2. They did a 1 rep max weighted chest to bar. They did a 1 rep max snatch. They did a max distance farmer's carry. They did a max distance handstand walk.
But those aren't even skills.
Yeah, they just called it skill. And they did an L sit hold. Yeah,
I think if it was broad jump, L sit, throw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't even consider L sit a skill. I think if it was broad jump, throw, and what else would be a skill? I think just
max unbroken crossover double unders. Is that a skill?
I think if it was maybe, and maybe even that one too. But I think if it was broad jump and throw, Jason would probably win. In that field, dude, no one in that field has even played a field sport in their fucking life.
I wonder if
they're not athletes.
I wonder if there's a field. I wonder if there's a field nearby, like to the venue, just like a baseball field or a.
You think Jason would win the broad jump specifically as well, or just?
I don't know if he would win it. Well, Guy's not there, so I do think he would.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I'm sure there are some guys that played sports and are athletic for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying he wouldn't. I'm actually asking if you think he'd win that part.
Oh, Bill's a good pick for the but his Achilles. Bill's a great pick for the broad jump.
I agree.
Oh, I didn't know he had a baseball background too. So maybe Bill. It'd probably be between Bill and Jason. I bet that pisses Jason off. You listening, buddy?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I would love to see something like that. And maybe that's how they get 12 scores in 3 days, right? They do 9 or 10 CrossFit workouts, but then they have a couple more scores that come from like combine type.
That would be cool.
Would you guys like it if they did a 100-meter dash?
Yes.
I think that would be so cool.
Yes.
God, I would love to watch that.
Yeah.
I would just like them to do it. Well, they did it last year.
With sandbags.
No, they did it without too.
No, they just did like a out and back. Yeah, it was with the sandbag.
I would rather see it in a way like that or with the pylons like they did, was it 2014, 2015? Where it doesn't even have to be zigzag, just like out and back.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those back-to-back sprints they did that year, and they basically let the other heat give you rest, where they did the plow, the handstand walk, and the sprint. I thought that was cool, and they were all 50-point events. That was cool.
I'd like to see a sprint like that. I wouldn't just like to see just a 100-yard dash or sprint. I'd like to see like an out and back, and maybe not even 100 yards out and back, but like 50 yards out and back. Just go run around the pylon, come back.
I just think we've seen stuff like that where it's like out and back, like all the true sprint stuff like that. We see always zigzag or out and back or around pylons and stuff. And I don't dislike it, but we've just seen it before, and we've never like. There's always been
deceleration involved. There's always been deceleration involved.
Yeah. Like, hey, let them use blocks, provide them with spikes if they want it, and just straight up like track and field 100-meter dash. And, you know, it isn't the only event. Like, I'm sure within the hour window, they probably have something afterwards, just like they did with the mile run and then the sandbag sprint. Like, they had them do them pretty back to back, so you don't get everyone out there just to watch that one thing. But I just think that would be so cool, especially because, like we were talking about with the triple jump and long jump, it's something you can compare it to. Like, everyone it's not just a random distance. Everyone knows the 100-meter dash world record.
I mean, a 40 would be cool. I bet you they could do a 40 inside that arena if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm faster than Bryson. I've been doing a sprint progression.
No,
Does that upset you?
it doesn't upset me because I know it's not true.
Hey, we made it an
Yeah.
hour. Good job, guys.
All right, guys, great show. And we'll do a live sprint off between me and Bryson soon.
Please do that.
Deuces.
See you guys.